Welcome to Ready Set Code. We are looking at game design and this is session 2. So the first challenge is play this game while you're waiting for everyone to be ready in your class. Think about what do you think of it. Have a class discussion after you have had a few plays of it. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Teachers pause on this page to give everyone a chance to have a play of the game and then have a class discussion. In today's session, you are going to design and test a maze for your sprite that you designed last time. You'll add a timer so that you can give a countdown for your game, and then you will add some danger so that there is a way of there being a game over without the time running out. If you'd like to remind yourself of Microsoft MakeCode, scan this QR code and it will take you back there. Remember, you go into Arcade and you make sure you sign in with your Glow email address and password. Once you've done that, then watch the video on the next slide so that you can design your maze. Today we're going to start creating a maze for our character to go through. So last session we created a little sprite and we created a way of moving our sprite. So we've got our on start, we want to set our sprite, which is our character. So remember, you tap on this grey box and you can draw your sprite, you can choose one from the gallery, and then move my sprite with buttons, which means it moves with the joystick over here. We want to add it in a background now, so we're going to go to scene. But we don't want to add just any background. If I scroll down, we want to add a tile map. So a tile map is where we can start designing the level for our game. So set tile map to tile map. This is what we're going to pop in underneath here. So we're going to have a background. At the moment, there is no background because it is grey. If I tap on the grey, I'm going to start and draw my tile map. So down here, we've got all the blocks you can choose from. So we've got forest, we've got lots of different little themes. If you want to draw your own tile, you can design your own tile by all means, but I'm going to use the ones that have already been made. So I'm going to stick with some of the ones that are already been made, and you can adjust them. So we're going to use the gallery. I'm going to go with forest. So what I'd like you to do is choose a completely different tile for your beginning and then choose a completely different tile for your end. Your walls need to be something else too. So you need at least 3 types of tile here. So I've got my beginning, which is my blue flowers, and my end, which is my green grass. And in between, I'm going to draw a maze. So your players won't see all of the maze at once, so they won't see the way to get around it. So you can put in some dead ends if you like. You can put in some loops. You can put in some tricksy bits. You can adjust this as you go. Don't put anything that looks that someone wouldn't be able to get around it. So don't put anything like this because they can't jump. They need to be able to travel through it. So here's my maze. Once you've got your maze, you might want to colour in the rest of the background so that it is completely covered. So you've got no grey checks left. The next bit we're going to do is just test out and see whether that's appeared. So you'll see that my tile map, once I press done, it should appear. At the moment, my character can go wherever it likes. What I want it to do is stick in the path. So I'm going to go back to that tile map, go back to the design here, and I'm going to choose the block that looks like a kind of Lego block here. Now this is us doing the walls. So you're going to put anything that you don't want the character to go through. You're going to build a wall. So this is kind of making a bit of a barrier so that it can't go through it. If you want to make a little secret cheat way through, you certainly can. But if you're going to make anything that's a barrier, you'll see. So you're going to do that with all of your walls around your maze so that your character does not stray off the path. You can toggle show walls and hide walls at the top so you can see what it looks like with and without. So the walls will be invisible. You're going to do this for the whole thing. So all the way around. And then design your map. So once you've put the walls on, you can't put tiles underneath. So make sure that you've decorated everything underneath. For speed, I'm just going to keep mine clear. So press done. And this time, if we have a look, your duck should only, if I move it, my character should only stay in the walls. It can't move onto anything that's not the path. So now it's over to you. I'll put the code up and I want you to have a go. So over to you to be a game designer. Make sure you've got a start and end point that looks different. Make sure you've got at least one way through your maze, and make sure you put your walls up that will be barriers so that your sprite cannot travel through them. Teachers, pause the video here so you can give 10 minutes to do this task. Right, now that we have our tile map, we're ready to turn this into more of a game. So the first thing we're going to do is set our starting point. So again, we're going to go to Scene, which is the kind of dark blue colours, and we're going to scroll nearly to the bottom, the second to the bottom section, which is called Tile Map Operations. And I'm going to grab the second one down, place my sprite on top of random block. Okay, so you'll find that in Scene. Use the colours to help you because it will help you match them up. I'm going to tap on that grey box and I'm going to choose the colour of my starting tile. So I've got blue flowers. So now my duck should jump to the blue flowers. So anytime we start the game, it will start from the blue flowers. When we're moving the duck, we want to not see all of the map at once. We want to move around the map, kind of have a camera following us. So again, I'm going to go to Scene 3 times in a row, and we're going to choose the second blocks down, which is Camera Follow Sprite. And we want it to follow my sprite, the one that you've made. So if I pop that there, we can test it out. So we'll see that the duck is now followed. If I move it around, you can see how the camera is kind of moving, so we can follow it around. Now the last thing we're going to do, make this into a game. Games tend to have timers, so there's some sort of ending of the game. If we go to Info, it's a funny named one, this one, and we're going to scroll to Countdown. So we're going to have a start countdown, and this is in seconds. You can choose how many seconds you want to go for. I think 10 is too few for me, so I'm going to go for 15. You can go for 30, 40, whatever you think. You might want to adjust it in a minute. So once I get started, I can try it out. You can see my timer's going, and I'm going to have my duck moving. And I want to try and make sure that I can definitely make it to the end in the time, which I can. So over to you. First thing I want you to do is place my sprite on top of random flower or whatever you've chosen as your starting block. So that's in Scene. Camera follows my sprite, that's also in Scene. And then have a countdown, that's in Info. So you're going to use these 2 sections just here. Test your maze out, make sure that you, as the designer, can get to the end of the maze within your time limit. So you might want to make your time shorter or longer, depending. Or you might want to go back to your tile map and adjust your map and make it a bit trickier or make it a bit easier if it's impossible. Teachers, pause here to give everyone a chance to do those 3 jobs on their game. So adding the sprite to the starting tile, having the camera follow, and setting the countdown. Okay, the next part, we want to be able to finish our game and have a game over and be able to win it. So again, we're going to the Scene section of our block choices, and we're going to scroll and we're going to choose on Sprite Kind of Player overlaps our grey box again at location. So this one here. So we're going to pop that one in. What we want is when the sprite overlaps and we want my finishing tile, which for me was green grass. For you, it might be something else, maybe something you've drawn. We want something to happen. So when the sprite overlaps that green grass at the end, we want something to happen. So we're going to go to Game this time. we want there to be a game over and we want it to be a win. So well done if you get to the very end. When you win, it's quite nice to have something special. So I went to game again. I'm going to have confetti, or you could have, let's have clouds. So if I win my game, so let's give it a go. I'm going to try, I bet I won't win now in the time. I've made my game fairly simple so that I can demonstrate, but I'm sure yours will be a little bit trickier. Will I get there? And then I've got my confetti or clouds. It doesn't really look like clouds to me, it looks like confetti. So you're going to add that in to have your win. Now you can also add a little bit of danger. So if we go back to our tile map, we want a way of making our players lose as well. So if we go back to our tile map, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete some of our bits of brick. So if I go, I'm going to go on to bricks, I'm going to go to my rubber and I'm going to delete some of those bits of brick because I'm going to put a bit of danger in instead. So people might hit this, and if they hit it, then they're going to end the game. If I go, I think the one I want miscellaneous, I'm pretty sure there's some fire in here. So I'm going to choose some fire blocks and I'm going to replace the normal stony tiles with a bit of fire, I think. Because if people hit the fire, they're going to die. So they need to be very careful to move around my maze and avoid the fire. So we're going to press done and I'm going to add one more bit. So it's just going to be a duplicate of what we've just done. So if we go to scene, scroll down on the sprite, the kind of player, this time if they overlap the fire, we don't want them to win. We're going to go to game. We want them to lose. And let's have another effect. We find something, we want them to melt because I think that's a bad thing. So that's for a lose. So if I try it out, you might need to make some of your paths a bit thicker. So if I try it out and I hit some of my fire, I've got game over and I melt. So you've got a way of winning and you've got a way of losing. So you can add those two types of tiles in. You don't have to have the fire if you just want to have a nice game where just people enjoy going around your maze. But if you want to add a bit of jeopardy, you can add some fire or you can add some whatever you want as a bit of an extra. So just a reminder, you'll need to go to your tile map. You'll need to delete the walls because if you don't, then they're never going to touch it because the barrier will be in the way, and you need to replace your tiles with something dangerous. So adding some danger might take a little bit longer. So you add in your danger tiles, make sure the wall is removed from these tiles, test your game, and then be a proper games tester. You need to test a friend's game and you can give them feedback. So you can let them know whether their game is impossible, whether it's too easy, and what you can adapt on it. I hope you've had lots of fun making your game. So make sure that you finish it off, test it, get someone else to test it and test it again. You could try out a skills map if you want to learn a little bit more about Microsoft MakeCode. I suggest you add some instructions for your game. You can add some music to your game and then you can publish and share it. So instructions on how to do that are on the next slide. You can share that to Shobi, you can share it by printing them out, you can do whatever you like and get people to share and play your fabulous games. Good luck. The final thing to do once you have tested and you've adapted your game is to share it so other people in your class can play. So choose this sharing symbol here that looks like 3 dots and then you will give it a name and you can share project. So you'll get a link for it, so you could copy that and you could put that into Shobi in your discussion. You could get your QR codes and you could share that with your teacher so they could print them out so that you can have them on the wall and you can try each other's games. There's lots of different ways of sharing. If you also you can share and test them out with people at home and see whether they can play your game as well.